Today's daily devotional comes from Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 13. It says that the sluggard says, "There is a lion outside. I shall be killed in the streets." One of the character traits that is talked about often throughout the scriptures is this idea of being a sluggard or being slothful, somebody who doesn't want to do anything. They don't want to do any kind of work whatsoever. Work has always been talked about in a positive way in the scriptures. God created our bodies for work. God created us to do things, to create, to grow, to make, to build, to do all sorts of wonderful things with our hands. In this passage, in Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 13, the sluggard says, "There's a lion outside. I'll be killed in the streets." This is just a ridiculous excuse that he's come up with to avoid doing what God has created him to do, to work. Any excuse will work. Oh, it's too cold. Oh, it's too hot. Oh, it's too wet. Oh, I'm too hungry. Oh, I'm too sleepy. Anything will work to keep this guy off the streets. Now, as Christians, or as people who are striving to do what God says, God has created us for good works. He's created us to spread the gospel. He's created us to feed the hungry, to help the poor, to do all the different things that we read about in the scriptures, with the blessings that God has given us. What kinds of excuses do we use to avoid doing the good works that God has prepared for us to fulfill? If we're not fulfilling those good works, then we are, in a sense, very much like this sluggard, allowing any excuse to keep us doing from what God has planned for us to do. So the devotion from today, to spur us on in fulfilling the good works that God has prepared for us, is Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 13. The sluggard says, "There is a lion outside. I will be killed in the streets."